Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hello, Marvelous Moms Club. Welcome to today's episode. I'm really excited for this one, and you'll find out very soon why. I am joined by Bethanie Garcia. She is a mom of three, a homeschooler, and she lives a really, really cool, unconventional lifestyle. She is a dancer. You're a ballerina, and you also are practicing to become a professional princess. You kind of already are. So We'll explain to you guys what that means. But welcome, Bethanie. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited.
I am too.
Yeah. It's good to talk about all these things that make you unconventional because when I was just barely on the Steve Harvey show, it was, I guess, pretty crazy the way that we live our lives. And I never realized that it was until now. So
yeah. And I haven't even asked you about that. I forgot.
Yeah.
My husband found you because we're both Disney fanatical families, and
Yep.
He was searching hashtags for one of our Instagram accounts, one of our 20 Instagram accounts, and came across your husband's Instagram account and was like, you need to check this girl out. You need to check these guys out. I don't know their story, but it looks really interesting. And that was the picture he took of you coming home from being on the Steve Harvey show. So tell me about that and how that all came to be. And
Yeah. So, we have a friend that was on a show before, and she has her blog and everything. So she posted on Facebook, there's a show looking for unconventional families, parents, and they were doing a panel of old school versus new school. Mm-hmm. So we were part of the new school panel. So I went on the show, and I guess it was kind of debate style. Mm-hmm. So it was more intense than I thought it was going to be.
Sounds
more confrontational. Yeah, when you get a group of moms together talking about their parenting styles.
Yeah.
And then they purposely put you in a new school versus old school, you know?
Yeah.
So basically why we're on it though is because we practice homeschooling, but more unschooling, which is kind of new, I guess, and unconventional. It's what felt right for us. We just kind of lead our days by the kids' interests and what they respond to when we show them different YouTube videos. We watch different science videos or whatever, and then whatever they tell us that they're interested in, that's what we focus on, and that's what we teach them. And we also do a lot of teach by example. My husband and I are both very artistic and creative. I actually didn't start pursuing ballet until I was an adult.
Wow.
So we definitely both believe that it's never too late to try something new. And we want to model that for our kids and kind of teach them in the way that adults learn. I feel like it gives them a better head start to be able to know how to set a goal and then take the steps to accomplish it, mm-hmm. rather than learning a bunch of things that you're going to forget someday anyways, because it's not part of what you're interested in or anything like that. So basically we're teaching them,
how to learn.
Yeah. How to just foster your own curiosity and take the steps that need to be taken to achieve a goal. Because I think the core of what you need to learn as an adult is how to set a goal and then achieve it.
Yeah.
And if you know how to do that, you can do anything.
You can learn anything. Yeah.
You can learn anything. You can find the resources to teach you how to do anything. So
mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
That goes really well in line with the episode. I mean, this will be aired a little while after this episode, but today's episode was on investing in your kids and teaching them, that same kind of concept on the experiences you're creating for them are going to show them what's possible when they get older. And I just feel like we're giving our kids a leg up on where we were, because by the time they're 18, it's not going to be oh, what am I going to go do? It's going to be hey, I love this and I'm interested in this and I've been able to practice this my whole life and I've seen my parents have their success and I know that I can do anything because they're my parents and they're weird and they were able to do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does because you still want to teach the basics and they need to learn how to read and write and all that kind of stuff. So how do you incorporate that in, even though you're leaning in a different direction?
I feel like all of that kind of comes naturally. When we started homeschooling with a curriculum, I was kind of forcing my daughter every day to do all the quizzes and do all the testing and, memorize all of this. And it was just really stressful for me and her. I think she learns a lot more like my husband, just like a very creative mind. And he always grew up thinking he wasn't smart, but he is obviously very smart. He can, paint anything, he can design anything and sew anything. And he just knows how spatially how things work. When he looks at something, he can say, okay, this is how I need to make this dress without even measuring or having a pattern or anything like that, which comes into play with like spatial reasoning and geometry, So with my daughter, I guess right now her project that she's working on, she told me she wanted to do an art show. So she has to make the invitations. She had to write them all out and figure out. So that's writing and reading for you right there. And then she wants to be an artist. So she's, doing all her artwork, but it's all based on birds, which she's really interested in. So we have to look up all the different birds that she's into and see how to draw them. And at the same time, she's learning different facts about all of them, because she also wants to be a veterinarian someday.
So cool.
Yeah. So really any goal or project that your kids have in mind or that you ever have in mind, it incorporates everything really. So that's how we do it. We don't really focus on stressing, like, is she on target for math or is she on target for reading? Because when you're an adult, that's not really how you base things. You're not taking tests every day, and that's really not what's important. It's more like, do you know how to set a goal and achieve it?
Yeah.
And, find the resources necessary to achieve it. And even if her goal someday is, I want to go to college, I saw somebody who was cautioning us about unschooling because she had to take a whole semester of math in college to catch up because she was unschooled. And I was thinking, is that really so bad that you took one semester of math in college, but really your whole life you got to kind of like set your own goals and figure out what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
I don't really think that's that big of a deal because I took math my whole life and I still had to catch up in math in college just because I didn't pay attention to it. I just was barely passing through my whole life.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. So
I don't know how I passed in college, to be honest with you. I really don't. I could never tell you how to do any of the things that I somehow got into my brain.
Exactly. So if she wants to pursue like veterinary school or something scientific, she will have to learn how to take the steps to get there. But I don't think it's important to stress about being on target with all these goals that have nothing to do with what you're interested in.
Yeah.
So I really don't worry about her reading or writing or math. I just base it off of what she's doing, which I've been told is really scary for a lot of parents to even think about considering that, because there is this like pressure to conform to what everybody else is doing, or else what are you going to do to your child,
Yeah. I mean, even me listening to you, I totally agree with what you're doing. And I think some of the books I've read recently that are self-improvement books that were written a long time ago, even talk about none of this stuff is taught in school. So what are we teaching in school? And my husband and I have talked about, because like some of the stuff we've been learning says like, you don't even need to go to college. It just gets you into debt. And he said, well, there are some things that you do learn in college that are good tools for the future. Not saying you have to go to college, but college isn't a terrible thing. No. Either way works. But, even sitting here listening to you, I'm like, oh my gosh, can you do that? Like, can you really do that? Like, will your kids be okay? And then I think, yeah, they will, because I'm been learning this, and it's so trivial because it's not done. But honestly, you know what's best for your kid. And honestly, if they start to feel like, hey, I really want to learn more about science so that I'm prepared to study this as they get older, it's not like you're going to say, no, you cannot read more science books because you need to be unschooled. This is all experiential.
That's not what homeschooling is about. It's just about presenting whatever opportunities that they come up with. And you'd be surprised how they actually know what they want to learn and how observant they are about the world around them, that they come to you all the time with things that they're curious about and things that they want to learn. Like the other day, she was connecting different wires to batteries and like cutting apart, what did we do? We were cutting apart a string of Christmas lights and then connecting it to the both sides of the battery to see how it lights it up. So just these little things that you
Wow.
don't, yeah, I mean, they just start to be led by their own curiosity, and naturally they learn a lot that way.
Yeah.
But it can be scary to take that leap. And that's why I think it's important to, practice mindfulness and meditation because, yeah, you can't pursue anything like this if you feel anxious about it or if you feel scared about it, because fear only leads to, regret and anxiety, and your kids will feel that too, and they're not going to be confident if you're not confident. So,
Yeah. See, right now
yeah.
I could never confidently do that because I feel like I would be so. Oh, I think we'd have to go through the year of doing traditional homeschooling to see that we didn't want to do that, because I know that's what would hold me back from homeschooling is I would turn into such a mean mom trying to get through the curriculum.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yeah, but my dream
Yeah.
for our kids is, that's one of our goals. The reason we want to have a little bit more wealth is not for greedy reasons and to have a gorgeous big house or fancy cars. It's so that we can teach them different cultures and different ways of life and expose them to different things and let them have experiences, go and live in a different country for the entire summer or for the entire year or something, so that they really become aware of the impact they want to have and things that they're curious about. So it's like I'm right in the middle. I totally this totally appeals to me, but it still scares me. It's still just like, but how do you teach them discipline and don't they go to school to learn structure? And, so what do you say to that with do you still have that, not discipline, not in the you're in trouble way, but that structure? Does there structure that comes into play with it too that helps everybody kind of keep their sanity?
Well, you have more of a day-to-day structure. I mean, you're basically teaching your kids how to be successful adults. So there does come daily planning and scheduling on the calendar. We have our events, and she had to schedule her art show, and she knows when it is. She's preparing for it. She has her list of things she needs to get done each day so that by the time it rolls around, she's ready. So in that way, yeah, it's structured because as an adult, you choose what you want to do, and then you figure out how to structure it based on what you're doing. But it's not structured like you have to learn XYZ by this day because of this test. Structured as in how you would live your life as an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. So the Steve Harvey thing, I think his post said it was really a little more intense than what you said. You even said that yourself. Did you walk away from it feeling like I wish I wouldn't have done that? Or are you glad that you represented a totally different viewpoint?
I'm glad I represented a different viewpoint. I walked away from it very shaken up because I was completely attacked for something that in my heart and what I was doing, I had come to a place where I had already researched a lot about it. I had already tried traditional homeschooling and traditional methods of discipline with my kids, and none of them felt right. But I had come to a place where what I was doing really felt right and good, and I was at peace with it. And so going on the show and having people come at you questioning everything you're doing because they've never heard of it, and to them it sounds outrageous. It's pretty scary.
I bet people listening right now are I bet some people tune out because they're oh, this girl's such a hippie. Oh my gosh. Because it is so different. But I'm sitting here thinking that is so cool. And everybody, especially within this Marvelous Moms Club community, there's been so much love and understanding for different perspectives, and there's been no negativity on there, which I think is so cool. Nobody's forcing their belief system. Nobody's judging other people for the way they do things. It's truly just a helpful place. So I look at it and I'm like, that is so cool that you've made peace with your choice. And really, it's nobody's place to evaluate or judge how you're going to do things, because we're all doing it differently, whether it's one extreme or another. Somewhere within the scope, we are doing things that feel right to us. So that's amazing and really cool. And I'm glad that you're I hope you've refound your peace after being shaken up by that experience.
I am, because I've been like watching my kids again as we've gotten back into our routine since I got back, and just trying to figure everything out. And it does make me feel really good what we're doing. I think a lot of the parents that I talk to were talking about how our culture is so competitive, and you have to make sure your kids can like read by age 4 now, and like graduate with like a master's degree or a doctorate degree to get anywhere in life. And neither my husband and I have finished our degrees. I mean, I'm still planning on getting a medical degree actually, because I want to volunteer, but that's going to be later in my future when my kids are a little bit older. But anyways, that's my goal, and I know what I'm doing in my life, and it's organized in that way,
Yeah.
But
well, even my husband and I have degrees, and they have not made us any wealth or big prosperity. They've given us some tools, and they've given us experience that has taught us what we don't want to do and what we don't want to have in our lives. But it's definitely not a necessary thing. It's a lot of times it is more of a hindrance, because it does get you into more debt. But I won't say one way or the other. They both have
useful,
good things.
They're both good. I think the whole point is just taking whatever knowledge you've learned and whatever knowledge you have and applying it to the future, and not looking back and saying, I wish I did something different. I wish I did something different, because that will never help your future. Yeah. The whole thing is about just moving forward. I mean, my husband and I, for a while too, were just like, oh, we have to get our degrees. We have to get our degrees. And it wasn't until we started just saying like, okay, let's work with what we have, and let's just pursue what we enjoy doing and keep trying every day to do our best. And that's when things started rolling for us, and things started working out. I think so often we tell ourselves we have to do this thing and this thing and this thing in order to achieve what we want, when really we just need to like let go of, okay, everybody else has done it this way, so I have to do it this way. I think we need to open our minds that there are new ideas, and not be afraid to follow those ideas that are unconventional, because really the people that stand out in the world are the ones that took the road less traveled. They're not they're not the ones that did what everyone else did. And just from reading a lot of books, when I was younger, that's the theme that I noticed through all of these successful people, is that just make sure whatever you're doing something different from what everybody else is doing, because that's the only way that you're going to be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And it's not about, being ahead of the game, but
not trying to beat everyone, but just really wanting to, like we were talking about before we started recording, of Outwitting the Devil is one of the books that I read, and 95% of people go through life just drifting, and they don't even realize it. And this is like based on scientific stuff of people on their deathbeds, and 95% of people don't feel like they reach their full potential. And I was like, I don't want to be in that 95%. I want to be in the 5%, and I would love to see the 5% grow. And that's another reason I started the podcast, is to like share that with other people and help them to realize how much control they have in their minds and their futures. And so it's really cool. So talking about future and where you guys are at now, I gave a little teaser in the beginning about what you've got going on, and we've only focused on one little thing. So talk to me about Disney and how much Disney has a piece in your life, what your husband does and what you do.
So my husband is kind of like a princess dressmaker, pretty much. He's a costume designer, and he started out as a fashion designer when we were in Salt Lake City. So he was doing that for a long time. He had fashion shows there. He had fashion shows in New York. He won awards. He was doing really well. But he was also still working full-time, managing different retail places. And a few different times he was laid off. And every time I told him, you have to pursue this full time. You have to pursue your designing full time, because I knew he was so talented, but it was scary. And it took a few times before he was comfortable pursuing it full time. It wasn't until actually that we moved to California that year. It was just last year. It's been less than a year since this all took off. It's kind of crazy.
I love it.
But yeah, we moved here. And he was like, hey, can we get Disneyland passes since we're here? I was like, that's kind of expensive. I don't know if we really have the money for that. It seems like not a necessity, you know?
Uh-huh.
But he was like, oh, I think it would be great. We really should do it. And so he got the passes, and he made a dress for Lily to wear to Disneyland, because what else do you take your little girl to Disneyland in? So he made her this really pretty Cinderella dress from the most recent movie that was in 2015, I think.
Uh-huh.
And he took her to Disneyland, and it caught everybody's eye because it's more extravagant than any dresses that they sell. And one of the Cinderellas that worked there talked to him about making the costumes for a princess party company in Balboa Island. And so that around all that time, we actually kind of ended up homeless for a few weeks and staying with different friends. And he actually got his first job with them shortly after quitting his job. Okay, so a lot happened all at once. Okay, so he took our kids to Disneyland. I had a baby, and during that time is when he was taking the kids to Disneyland, when I had this newborn. And then when my newborn was 2 weeks old, we didn't have a place to live for a couple weeks. And then he also had just quit his job before that happened to pursue his designing full time. And then that's when he got his first client that paid a lot of money down for like 12 princess dresses that they wanted. And so from there, he was able to just keep pursuing his designing. And he noticed that the more he worked on it every day and was just constantly updating his Instagram, the faster his followers grew, because he was just doing so much only on his business and not worried about his other job or worried about anything else.
Yeah.
So it was able to grow really fast. And then
love it.
we just kept going to Disneyland.
Because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and faster. And now that's what he's doing, completely supporting all of us on his costume designing. We were scared that it was going to slow down after Halloween, but it's just kept growing and growing. So.
And you guys have a huge following, which is amazing. My husband and I were talking, and he was like, yeah, they're almost at 30,000. I'm like, they are? I didn't even notice. I was just so excited about like you guys. And then I went through and looked at all the amazing, oh my gosh, like one of my favorites is, I was literally looking at a picture and I was like, how do they have the birds holding the dress up like that? Or the veil, Cinderella's veil. And then there was a video and I could tell it was like, it was incorporated in.
With like the wires.
Yeah. You guys have to go check it out. Like while you're listening to this, go get on Instagram, search Designer Daddy. Is it Designer Daddy _ something? Tell me
just Designer Daddy _
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. He is insanely talented. Between the two of you guys, powerhouse couple. I love it.
Oh, thank you. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It sounds like it.
It's crazy to me that the time when we became most successful is just when we started pursuing what we loved full time and not worrying about the money. I mean, we didn't even have a place to stay. We were looking for apartments in one of the most expensive places to live in the US. We knew we wanted to stay in California.
Yep.
So it took us a while to find an apartment that would approve us with our very new self-employed status.
Yeah.
Like a month of being self-employed. Not many places were willing to even like accept our applications. So.
You should have just had your daughter wear a dress when you went and applied for the apartment. And
I know, right?
See, this is how we're different.
Yeah, this is what we're working with. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just give us a place to live.
Yeah, these dresses, you guys, put the Disney store to shame. I mean, sorry, Disney, but if Disney store was producing the kind of gowns your husband designs, they would be like even more quadrillionaires than they already are.
Oh, yeah. He does some amazing designs. I don't know where he pulls all of this stuff out of in his head, but it's awesome.
It is awesome. So now you're able to pursue as an adult. You've started that new dream of becoming a dancer. And I've seen some of your stuff on your ballet account, your dancing account.
Oh, really?
Yes. I do my research.
Yeah. It's pretty new and it's been fairly off and on, which is why we're actually looking for a church to buy and turn into a castle, and I'll have a dance studio in there so that I can pursue it even more full time if I don't have to like pay for expensive lessons off and on when I can afford it and when I can't, or, trying to like dance in my own house is a little bit tricky sometimes. There's not a lot of space. But yeah, that's why we're looking for
Yeah,
a
I feel
church.
like we skipped over that because you told
Yeah.
me on the phone, but now these guys, wait, what? They're buying a church and castle, huh?
Yes. Yeah, we're looking for a church right now to buy, to turn into a castle and live there and live in our dream castle house.
That's so cool. Which
Yeah.
I'm a little bummed because it sounds like it will take you out of California, most likely, which would be the end of my dream for us to become best Disney friends. But whatever, I'll come and stay at your castle. You can put me in the Beauty and the Beast suite or the Ariel's Grotto suite or something.
Oh, yeah. We are actually planning on doing different themed rooms.
Yes.
It's funny, we were never Disneyland. We always liked Disney and the concept of doing what you love and following your dreams, but it never really like became such a huge deal and huge inspiration for us until we moved here.
Mm-hmm.
And he started getting into making all these princess dress costumes and just seeing how like happy it made everybody and how much fun it was with our kids. And then for me, I got the opportunity to start being hired as a professional princess by different companies. I'm just doing it freelance right now, but and then for me, being able to look into a group of children's eyes and tell them that their dreams can come true if they just believe and are kind and follow what they love. It made me emotional the first time I ever did that.
I bet.
And yeah, Disney and Disneyland turned into something just sporadic and fun into like this huge inspiration for us.
Yeah.
Which is why we want to have this castle dream house now, and we want to hold balls there and different workshops and have these princess parties and just inspire people just like Walt Disney did.
Yeah.
That magic is real and your life is whatever you believe it is. Your reality is whatever you believe it is and whatever you want it to be. It doesn't, you don't have to listen to all the sadness in the world. You don't have to focus on that. You can create something so much more magical and so much more beautiful. You can create whatever you want to live in.
Oh my gosh, I love you. Everybody else listening, you have to be jealous because I really am going to be friends with Bethany, and I bet you all wish that you were too, but sorry.
Oh, I would love to be friends with you.
She only has time for me, so everybody just needs to get in line.
But yeah, even though we are going to buy this castle church, we actually are still planning on keeping our Disneyland passes.
Yes.
And go there often.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Maybe we could conquer Disney World together.
That's we actually saw a church today that's for sale in Florida. So we're like,
Oh.
maybe Disney World is the next step.
Yeah, for real. Your world's going to grow.
I know. It's going to be awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, everything just, once you start believing that everything is good and that the world is a good place, you start noticing the good even more.
Mm-hmm.
And everything just feels like it gets better and better.
Yeah.
It feels like it's snowballing in a really great way instead of how sometimes your life can snowball in a bad direction.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it so much. Like, I can't even put it in words. And the cool thing about using that Disney model is Disneyland has been around a long time, and Disneyland is not going anywhere in spite of their incredible price hikes.
Yeah.
That we all just keep swallowing the pill.
It's still worth it for us.
Yeah, it's worth it for us too. We've totally piddled around it this year, and we have some things we want to pursue, and we want to take the kids on a Disney cruise. And I'm like, even the more I'm talking to you, I'm like, why am I limiting myself? Because actually, yeah, I'll talk to you about this after the podcast.
Yeah, when we got our passes, we didn't technically have a lot of money for it, but we got the highest passes, and we were like, we're doing this.
And that's how you were homeless.
Disneyland and living in California, Southern California, like we're gonna do it right, like all out.
That's how we felt. I mean, we feel like we're here to stay. But even just that first year, it was like, okay, we've done SeaWorld now, we've done Legoland, we've had our Disney passes, and I don't know, I just felt like even if we ever had to leave, we totally lived it up. So
yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. Wherever you go, like take every opportunity, live it to the fullest, because you don't want to be in some other situation later and look back and be like, oh, I should have done that cool thing I thought of doing,
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back on track here.
Yes.
We could probably about wrap it up because you've given me everything that I wanted and then some. I just think you guys are so amazing, and I absolutely love getting different perspectives on here. That is my mission, is to bring as many different viewpoints as I possibly can so that we can all be inspired and see these other ways of doing things and the other ways to succeed and how happy different lifestyles. Not that you guys will have to change your lifestyle, just saying, like, it's fun. It's fun to get an insight into people's lives, and I'm totally fascinated by yours and so thankful for Instagram and social media because you guys don't all know this, but we have way more in common than we even realized, and it's just so fun. I love connecting with people through here, and I love that you've been willing to share your story and your unique lifestyle with everybody. And so anyway, let's get down to that final question that everybody loves to answer. Oh, first, actually, you said you were a reader. So what are you reading right now?
Actually, right now I'm not reading anything motivational. I'm reading The Omnibus by Jules Verne.
Oh, a classic.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm writing my own book that's like motivational and stuff. And when I'm writing blogs or writing a paper or writing a book, I don't want to be too influenced by one specific book that I'm reading. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, usually, those are the books that I read on a regular basis. Like the last one I really loved was The Jackrabbit Factor or something like that.
Oh, interesting. I'll look that up.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one. Especially it talks about like getting out of the pack of people that are all doing the same thing. But yeah, right now I'm just reading kind of a fun adventure that helps me get out of my head for a little while.
Yeah, that's smart. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'm excited to read your book when it comes out. I hope I can be like one of the first people to read it, and I'll write a really good review because I can tell already it's going to be good.
Yes, it is going to be good.
When's that
I'm
expected?
About it. And you'll be having one of the first copies so that you can read it and see what you think before I release it or whatever.
Sounds good. I'm going to link to that book in the notes, just if people, it's interesting to see what other people are reading if they want to check it out. Jules Verne's a classic, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's actually really, I want to go read it tonight.
Well, you can. Yeah. You need to keep doing positive things tonight.
Yes.
Okay, so what makes you a marvelous mom?
Okay. I'm sure everybody, like you said, loves answering this question. I think one of the biggest things is just that I'm always there to play with my kids. I think that sometimes just having something as simple as playing with your kids is a big deal for them.
Mm-hmm.
And also that I'm not afraid to be wrong about things. I'm not afraid to like explore why we do things the way we do, or question why society does certain things, and if I want to do them differently from what everybody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we limit ourselves by thinking we have to do things a certain way. And if we're willing to go outside our comfort zone a little bit, there will be a lot of new insights that we can figure out, and it helps us become better parents. And I think that's what we're supposed to do as a human race is, always be evolving and always be trying to find new ways to be better parents and raise better human beings. And
I think that's so true. And that's all displayed in the whole conversation we had. So
yeah,
that's a really good way to sum up who you are as a person and who you are as a mother. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Well, you're
opportunity.
You bet. You're amazing and marvelous, and I'm so happy that I had an opportunity to get to know you, and I can't wait to get to know you more outside of the podcast.
Yes, definitely.
Everybody watch everybody watch for pictures of me and Bethany at Disneyland, because it's probably happening like sooner than later.
Oh, please. I hope it does.
Me too. Motivation.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. Have a great day.
Thank you.